All right, people, it is part 6, personal health care reform challenge. And today, just to recap a little bit, we've worked on some strength stuff. We've worked on some progressive loading. We've worked on steady state flow with the row machine. Okay, breathe and move, breathe and move, breathe and move, right? We worked on some balance functionality, right? A little bit of that, if you remember the 80s. But a lot of it was just being able to stay and hold, right? Then we worked on some grip stuff for the hands. Then we did, that's right, we hit the abs, we got the six-pack, right? So we did a lot of core strength, stability, working, breathing, all that stuff. So today we're going to pull it all together, all right? With my handy dandy, my beautiful assistant here today. No, we're not going to be wailing on the bag. We're not going to do that. We're going to work on the foots. Notice socks today. I want you shoeless for this because we're going to work on some of the balance stuff that we did before, right? We're going to work on not really the grip, but we're going to work on some hand stuff, okay? Some finger hand stuff. We're going to work on some force impact loading, okay? Specifically, ladies, hear me out. This one's for you because of bone health, especially the hips. You're not breaking these, right? And femur and everything else because, bone health is a big deal. And how do you stay healthy? How do you keep your bones healthy? How do you keep them big and strong, right? Well, that's how you do it, okay? You got to load them, and bouncing, funny enough, is one of the best things for you outside of getting a bar and doing that and doing some actual loading, right? But bouncing, you have to load a bar on you, but you get the benefit of extra weight load going through. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to work on some perception, okay? Which is your ability to know how far away you are from things so you don't run into them, right? Because you don't want to run into stuff and bounce, fall over stuff, right? You want to be able to address stuff. You want to be able to move around things that are moving. You know where they're at, right? We're going to work on that. We're going to do some basic footwork stuff, okay? Because we got you here, right? And we did some of the up, walking on the toes. Remember walking on the toes? Forward, sideways, and we did some little bit of high knee walkthroughs, right? Yes? Okay, so we're going to take that, and we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to do some more of the stuff that we do with our runners. And Mr. Cameraman, I'm going to bring you down just a little bit. There we go, better. So this way we get the feet. We're going to get some hand stuff, okay? A lot of open hand, a lot of open palm things that we're going to do with the bag and the wall too, right? And a lot of it's just going to be some movement forwards and backwards, side to side. Just getting that core to move and do some of this stuff, right? Very Bruce Lee. We're not doing this, okay? We're going to be right here, nice and flowy, nice and chill and flowy. We're going to have some fun with this. Also, for your cardio, I'm going to show you some really cool cardio stuff you can do for yourself. And you don't even need that guy. You don't need the bag, okay? You just need a wall or something else to be able to address and move forwards and backwards and around with, okay? So we can work on the feet, the footwork, moving around. So you don't do that. You don't run into each other. You don't step into this and fall, right? We don't want that. We don't like that. So you notice the boxer belts. They're here. Rocky 3 specifically. Getting all the bounce stuff going, right? And getting where the feet stay apart and wide and you don't trip over yourself. So there you go. That's what we're going to be doing today. And a little bit of fun. And but it's going to be some play around stuff, right? This is for some fun, some movement, play around. Give me a little Tai Chi-ish at times, sort of, kind of. But we're going to start off right here. We're going to start with some basic. I want to give everybody a little bit of basic, easy footwork stuff to deal with here. And the other part of this is I want you to breathe while you're doing this. Okay, so this is a breathing, moving thing, right? And we're going to start off with just some basic bounce. Okay, very simple, basic. if I had a toy with me, there's some toys that I really wish I had, but somebody has my toys at home and they didn't bring them back. So I got to get my toys back to where I took them home. Otherwise, I'd be doing some little. So David Weck, back to David Weck. I know we did the shake weight thing before, right? We're not going to use this today. If we had the poppers, he's got another little set that like have a little spring-loaded action in them, and they help you do this stuff. It's so cool because they capture all the energy down here when you land, and they boom, they pop you right back up. Seriously, one of my clients, actually my client that has them at home, she's got my poppers at home because she couldn't do this. She got the poppers, they helped get her to go back up. But we're gonna work on that for everybody here. So bear with me. I want you to use your arms. We're gonna give a little up and a little down and a little up, okay? So this is the action with the arms. And you should be able to feel this. Give you a little boost down and a boost up, right? So if you can't bounce, you got foot issues, stuff like that, because, you know, some people can't bounce. They do have feet issues. They have torn ligaments, whatever. Maybe the impact stress is too much right now, right? So we can work on forcing some load into the feet and then take it out of the feet. See? In, out, in, out. And we can get this right here. And now we get you up on the toes without having to use the lower leg to bounce you up. Note this is a secret for my runners because we can use the arms to get you up off the feet faster and springy, right? So quick like a bunny, springy like a bunny. So we got this guy on the front. Watch the foots. And the goal is to get your weight a little bit forward on the feet. And we have that right there. And once we get this going, then we can start hopping through it. This is where you would start bringing in a jump rope, okay? The problem with jump ropes is you're gonna smack yourself on the legs all the time, right? So you can get some of the ropeless jump ropes, or the biggie is just being able to bounce. And here's what we're gonna do with this. Once we get to where we can bounce, okay, there's up and down, nice little bouncy bunny. You have to turn around. I want you to find 2 points on the floor. And all I want is a forwards and backwards. And use the arms to go with it. Notice a forward and a backwards, okay? After 30, 40 seconds, heart rate's gonna be going up. Don't hold your breath, you gotta breathe with it. That means you're breathing with the hops, okay? In and out, in and out, in and out. In the nose, out the mouth, right? Nice and fluid. Because the goal is to get you doing this to where it is relaxed. It's not forced. You're not like doing. Don't be a mad bunny. Don't be an angry bunny, okay? Nobody likes an angry bunny. Be a happy bunny. And move it with the arms and the hands. Make it nice and flowy. Once again, we're finding 2 spots that we can hit, okay? Once we get that forwards and backwards, give yourself, if you can go for a minute doing that, you're a champ, okay? Give yourself like 30 seconds. Hit that for 30 seconds, forwards and backwards. Once we get that, now we get sideways. Once again, find 2 spots. The goal is to hit those 2 spots repetitively. And here's why. We're working on some perception, right? We're working on some eye-foot coordination, okay? Because first time we try this, I'm telling you, you're going to be like all over the place, right? Because you're working on some balance, some stability control issues here within your feet, and also perception-wise. That's why I say pick 2 spots. And keep your eyes on those 2 spots and start hitting those 2. And eventually you can take your eyes off and you hit those 2 spots every time, okay? So we got the forwards and backwards. We got the side to side. Once you get those, now we get to pick 4 spots. we're going to go clockwise, and we're going to go counterclockwise, okay? Try 10 times each, okay? I'm telling you right now, first time you do it, those 4 spots are going to be everywhere. So it takes some time to get the coordination to hit 4 spots and hit those 4 spots every time like clockwork, okay? And then reverse it like clockwork, okay? Not easy. And your heart rate is going to be going through the roof, okay? I want to start here so you can get used to, one, be able to bounce. And we have some forwards and backwards because we get used to forwards and backwards. And then we got to get used to some sideways. Once again, heart rate's going to be going. Once we get forwards, we get sideways, then we start working on some circular patterns, okay? Because eventually what's going to happen is we need to work on addressing forwards and backwards and sideways, okay? And switching. This is where the circles come in, okay? So we can start doing this because my little partner over here, look, it's nice and soft, but if you do it with the wall and you advance too fast, you might run into something. We don't want that, okay? This is all about sight perception, be able to basically know how close something is and how far away it is. So you can come up and you get right up on it and come back away, but you never actually touch it or hit it. We all love action movies, right? Cool thing about action movies. Watch one of my old TV shows, because I had Grandmaster William McDonald on with me, and we talked about the whole Hollywood stunt thing, which is, yeah, throw a punch, right? That's about, like, they're a good, like, 6 inches a foot away from each other when they're going, ah, right? But the angle makes it look like they're getting hit, okay? Search, watch behind the scenes for some of your like favorite fight shows, stuff like that. It's amazing how far away they actually are usually. Sometimes they get way too close for comfort. If it's old school martial arts from like Japan, China, dude, they're hitting hard. They do. But anyway, so beyond that, there's a lot of perception stuff. This way, whenever you're walking around, you see what's going on around you, and you don't trip over stuff. You can step over, you can step around, okay? Quickly, easily, instead of you're doing this and you try to get around something, you take the leg up and you just, right, you fall over. Now we can flow, we can move. If you have to, you can take a leg up and over, you can move around, you can go where you need to go, okay? So scoot sideways if you need to, right? And move back around. And get to where your feet are moving and you can flow. And this ties in the hands and the foots, and we can do some, foot fist art, Taekwondo. I grew up with that. So we can coordinate them, and that's what we're going to head on to here in a second. So we did the forwards and backwards, okay, side to side, 4 spots. When you can do it with 2 legs, transfer over to 1 leg, okay? Single foot, forwards and backwards. Single foot, sideways. Single foot, doing 4 spots, okay? Which is really tough because now, you remember the whole head over foot thing we did? You've got to maintain that, even while you're moving around in space, which takes a whole lot of coordination between this working and keeping you stable over here, keeping this here, and the arms helping out with a little bit of stability work while you're in motion. Because while you're in motion, everything else is in motion, okay? That's just how it works. So there we go. There's some basics on that. So once we get to where we can hop around 1 foot, we can hop over 1 foot, and then we can start playing around. We can go back and forth, foot to foot, right? And we can do forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. We can hit some side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, right? Get your world, play around with it, have some fun. Because once you can get this and you get the 2 feet, and you start playing with one foot, now your ability to move around and move and do stuff improves dramatically. The cool thing is, recent study came out, this guy up here responds to all of this. So the more you dance, okay, dancing is huge for this. If you want to do martial arts, you want to do Tai Chi or something else, if you want to go, just go dance, okay? Take some dance classes, do some hopscotch, right? Take some chalk, do the hopscotch thing, toss it out there, old school, because we're working on some brain function for perception, okay? You can see it, you can move around it. All right, this way it makes you better able to do things in life and just move and flow. Even just normal life, whenever you have things happen, you can figure out a way to move around it, navigate over it, right? Whatever, go through it. Whatever you do, this goes into here, so this works better, and you can go out there and do stuff better for longer, okay? This goes to learning, this goes to stress reduction, goes to every piece of this. The more you can move, the better able you are to move and to stay stable and mobile and have better mobility, the better you are in life to do that, okay? So it's the whole, literally, it's mind and body connecting, the hands and the feet connecting through your core, your eyes will be able to see, and you'll be able to feel what's going on. It gets all that going, right? Okay. So now that we get the bouncies addressed, we're gonna have some fun with some forwards and backwards motion with this, a nice little stance, okay? And this comes with being on the toes, not gonna be on the heels, everything has to be on the toes. And now we can do a little forwards and backwards, or we can do a little shuffle step, push back, push forward, pushing back with the front foot, pushing forward with the back foot. Yes, I do have fencers, by the way, that I work with. So to push back, to push forward, to push back, push forward. Or we got bounce, right? Either way, we're working on transitioning forwards to backwards, okay? Once we get that, other side, same thing. If you're used to one side, switching sides is like, you know, you're used to brushing teeth with one hand, and you brush teeth with the other hand. It's so weird, but your brain gets a brand new pattern to recognize and play with. It's better for you. Once again, you can flow with both. Plus, you know, if you're in a sword fight and you lose a hand, you got to be able to do the other one. Luke Skywalker knew that. But from a martial arts standpoint, we used to do this for hours. It's a forwards and backwards bounce, right? We're on the back, we're on the front. We're on the back, we're on the front. And this is just a nice, steady, flowy bounce, and we can switch. And then we can switch. And then we can switch, right? And you switch faster. And now we start working on some core so we can get this to transition and this to transition. And we can step back, and we can step back, and we can step forward, and we can step forward, right? And this is all about getting feet to not cross. Did this with my basketball players years ago. Guess what they never did? This. It's always a swing through. It's a swing through. Going backwards, it's a swing through. Swing through. So your feet never come in contact with each other. They slide past. Right? They slide past, but never into each other. This way, you always have a good stance. You're always solid, but you can always move. Forwards, backwards, diagonally, wherever you need to go without crossing over your feet. And this is a process. It takes time to go from the bouncy, 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 single foot bouncy, right? And then getting into, we're here. Now we can get here, right? And it does take some time to play around with this. But the cool thing is, you have time to play around with it. And whenever it starts getting cold outside, and you're trying to figure out something to do around the house to stay warm, thermal energy is going to get up because your heart rate's going up. You got to breathe more. Do it during the commercials. I don't know. So there you go. This is just some basic movement, okay? So we can move forwards and backwards because, all right, we're gonna have some fun with this guy. So I'm gonna do some of this on the bag. I'm gonna do some of this on the wall. In fact, we're gonna start with the wall. We're gonna move back to the bag. Here's why. Everybody has a wall, okay? Everybody has an open space they can utilize for their wall. And this is about perception and being able to touch and touch and touch and touch, right? And be able to get closer and further. And yeah, I know I'm showing off, I'm looking away. But seeing the wall and being able to get up close to it, but not run into it, okay? And get to where you can do more and more, right? This is also going to help you out with some focus and visualization because you're watching the wall and it's getting closer and further from you. And as you get older, the ability to judge distance gets really tough. How close is it? How far is it? I'm not really sure. And now you can start working on how close am I to this thing? How far am I from this thing, right? And we can move forward and move forward and move forward and move forward. Bring your hand up and switch sides, right? And note, you know, we worked on all the hand strength stuff. Well, now we get to use these guys to help brace that. So if you run into it, if you're just going and you run into it, well, now you can catch yourself better, right? Once again, if you fall, you're walking up and down stairs, whatever, into a wall, but you can catch yourself better. So this is also a way to catch and address things if you do fall. So now you can use these guys to help brace a little bit, grab hold of stuff, or use your fingers as a brake because they hit the wall, they can expand out, they can take some force away before it gets to you, right? Once again, just like your feet, when you're bouncing, fingers can do the same thing. You can even do a little push away on here for working on some hand strength and springiness, right? So everybody has a wall. You can do the wall. Cool thing with the wall too, we've got movement sideways, okay? Work on getting the feet going sideways. You can even go this way. This way you can work on shuffling backwards, hand on, okay? Moving backwards, moving forwards, moving backwards, moving forwards. Distance, okay? Which some people have great perception. They can judge distance really well. Other people don't have a tough time addressing distance. And this is an easy way to work on addressing how close, how far something is away from you for real. So this way you've got like that arm's distance and you know how far that thing is and how well to move and adjust for it. And then also, we can work on lateral motion, moving side to side, staying on the toes, not being on the heels and falling over backwards and all that stuff, right? Because if you're on the toes and you lean forward too far, well, now you got this handy dandy wall to hold you up. So if you do lose your balance a little bit, well, now you can push off of it, okay? And we can work on being on the toes and moving sideways. And eventually we can go hands free and just occasionally touch the wall. And we can go sideways and we can just address touching the wall. And then we can get playful with it and we can start changing our stance and our stride, okay? Once again, on the toes, because if you're on the toes, you can move better all around. If you're on your heels, everything is back and you're constantly searching for balance and trying to readjust, and you're always on your heels falling backwards, okay, the whole time. If you're too much on the toes, you're always gonna be falling forwards, right? So the goal is to get you centered, so even when you're on your toes, you're centered over the toes. You can sit back into it a little bit. You can be there, okay? This way you don't fall. Now for the fun stuff. Bring it back a little bit. So if you do have a bag, I suggest you get some of this because you're going to need it. Because you will get thirsty, you will get tired. Your heart rate's going to go up. Because all that stuff we just did in the wall, we're going to do in the bag. The cool thing with the bag is it's round. It is circular. We can move around the bag. Once again, we're not going to hit the bag, okay? Bags do hit back, all right? They do. That weight that you're going into, if you don't know how to make a fist, you don't know how to hit, and you just haul off and hit it, you're going to hit with those guys right there. And when you hit with those guys right there, it's going to hurt a lot, and you're probably going to break something. We don't want that, okay? So this, we're not going to be doing this. If you do hit, you want to hit with those two guys. Best way to do that is get that guy to lap over that guy, get this guy to come over this guy. These two guys are going to come over, and this way you can address with those two guys. But we're not going to do that today, okay? That's just for future reference. And David Wexler's, go watch his hand tutorial stuff. It's brilliant, okay? No, we're going open hand. We're going palm. I want you hitting with that. This is so hard right here. This is so hard. It's like hitting someone with a hammer. There's not a whole lot of nerve innervation there, so you're not going to really feel it. This is also as you want to address. We're just addressing how far away we are, okay? That's it. I want you touching the bag with the fingers. Why? Boop, poking your eyes out. Way more effective. Have you ever had your finger in the eye? Can't see? Okay, it hurts. So all I want fingers on the bag. And we're just going to work our way around the bag, okay? So now we could work on some footwork. Notice it's small steps. Keep that hand up. But I just want, go around, come back around. Once again, we're just touching it. And when we get good there, switch it. You're going to notice that you move way better with one side than the other, especially going forwards and backwards. Okay? And all I want you to work on, give yourself like 2 minutes. I'm telling you, 2 minutes of nothing but just touch and move around and work on keeping the feet on the toes. Give me small steps, right? We're not going for a hitting or anything else. We're just going for address the bag and stay the same distance away. So you're not floating way off. You're not getting way in close, right? I want same distance the whole way around, okay? If you can get all the way around without obstructions, you don't have to hide back here on the backside, right? Because it's pretty close back there. But the goal is to just stay in constant contact the whole time, right? Stay in distance. And then we can work on, now we're forwards, now we're back. Now we're forward, now we're back. And yes, this thing's going to swing a little bit. So it's changing on you while you're changing, right? So now we get to address how far we are in distance back away. And we'll have some real fun. Now we can go with it. Or we can come in it and go away from it. We can come into it and go away from it, right? So we can play with it and we can start working on addressing some focus and vision. How far away is that thing? How fast is it moving towards us? How fast can I get towards it? How fast do I have to move away from it when it is coming towards you? So like if something falls towards you and this guy's coming at you, how fast can I get out of the way, right? How fast do I have to go from here to here for that guy not to hit me? Once again, this is not just fall avoidance. This is like avoidance of things falling on you. Or if you like misstep and you lunge forward to something, how fast can you recover and get away from it? Right? Walk around in the dark at night, you trip over something, right? It's modern daily life. You're gonna have more injuries at home doing stuff, right? So this is to address a lot of that stuff to where you don't get injured at home just because you're so used to being there and you trip over something and you hit something and you fall over here, right? So it's to get you to where you're fast on your feet. So if you do trip, you can recover and come back very rapidly. Okay. So we got the arounds, and then we want to have some fun. Now we can start getting some of this core stuff that we did before last week, which is breathe in, contract, right? And we can work on some of this rotational stuff that I talked about, because this is some of the best rotational work you're going to get, because now we get to work on back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot, right? We load at the back foot, we load to the front foot. And all we're doing is we're touching. We're not hitting the bag. We're going for back foot to front foot, back to front. Now we get to change hands, right? We're changing hands, boom, switch around. Same thing, back foot, front foot. And you're gonna notice you have one side that you're really good on, one side that you're not so good on. Taekwondo, we had to be good on both sides. Everything is equal all the time because you had to switch stances all the time. But, you know, think of this as a dance, okay? You're dancing with your bag. This is your partner. You don't want to beat your partner up, right? You want to flow with your partner. And then you can have some fun, dance around your partner whenever you start swinging it, and you can start working on different movement patterns with the bag, swinging to and from, and you have to move it around it, and if you go around it, and if you go around it and not get hit by it, right? So since it's a play day, because we get to use these, and we get to get them working together. Now, moving forward, if you want to go out and you want to close the fist and you want to hit that guy, right? You want some of this. This stuff transitions into how well you can load and unload into this guy and put everything through the hips, through the abs, terminating through here, right? I would recommend going open initially so you don't injure this guy. Plus, you know, wraps, gloves, all that stuff. But this way we work on transition, boom, through, right? And then go find yourself a good boxing coach that starts you off with basic motion and shadow boxing, so you start working on what's a jab, what's a hook, what's an uppercut, right? How to transition and use your body to those things, so you're actually using this stuff to do it. You learn how to breathe. Breathe, people, breathe. Please breathe. But this way, you're using everything, and it's a dance and it's a flow, okay? And get somebody that's going to go slow with instruction, teach you how to do these things if you decide to do some boxing training, because man, for this guy, not getting hit in the head, okay? I'm talking about just the motion, the movement, learning how to do this and doing the combinations. Dude, they put the, because you're not going to start there. No, this is way later. You start off with just throwing combinations in the air, right? And then they break out the hand pads, and now they're calling combinations. You got to hit the hand pads. Have you seen the little toys with the lights that light up? And you got to follow, like it lights up here, boom, you got to hit that. Lights up over here, you got to hit that. Lights up over here, and you're constantly just like it's pattern recognition. It's pattern recognition, okay? For this guy up here, for brain health, mental health, it's huge. And once you change that stance, and now you have to do it the other way around, you're rewiring everything, and you still got to breathe. Great stuff. Martial arts, same thing. Tai Chi. Tai Chi for balance, coordination, breathing, getting grounded and set and moving, right? It's fantastic because you're starting slow and you're moving through stuff, right? And then if you want to have some real fun and you're feeling nice and bouncy, hop into some Taekwondo. We can work on this stuff, right? Because it's it's a dance. You're light on your feet all the time. Traditional karate, boom, you're here. It's very centered, grounded, right? It's focused, one punch type stuff. Much more much more focused on how much power you're delivering as opposed to Taekwondo, which is there's power, but there's a lot of misdirection and happy fun moving around everywhere. But once again, this goes back to this guy working better, these guys working better, these guys working way better. Ladies, I talked about the hips, the bone health, right? The one thing that's going to do more for you than anything else for bones and bone health is loading yourself, okay? This right here, learning how to bounce. Because every time you do this, we took twice your weight load and loaded it through you. Like that. Now we've done it multiple times, okay? Getting a bar on the back? Yes, good. I love it. Get a good trainer that knows how to do this stuff and is not going to injure you, right? Driving a bar, deadlifts, because you do them in life. But it's learning how to do them, how to progress through them properly. This way we get the bone health. But just for daily, this right here is going to do so much for the quads, for the feet, for the spine, for some loading to build your bone health. It will skyrocket it, okay, quickly. Plus, ligaments, tendons. Once again, start with this first, and then work into the back. If you haven't bounced, if you can't bounce, cheat, okay? Use the arms, okay? Use that to get yourself up and going. Then get into the bouncing. And if you want to, boom. Now we got jump squats and stuff that we can do, but we got to start someplace and build upwards, all right? This way we build everything and you get more mobile. And the goal is to have you more mobile so you can move around. You can do stuff. You can play with your grandkids, in and out of the car, walk around, grocery day, gardening, whatever it is. This stuff that I just did right here is going to help you do all of that way better. And you're going to breathe more, you'll lose some extra body fat, okay? And it gets you better at everything, including, you know, all this stuff. You see all the stuff in here? Everything we just did gets you better at all of that. More so than that's going to get you better at this. Because over there, you're sitting in a chair, you're pushing, okay? Which is great, okay? Building muscle, great. Building some bones through that just because of the amount of sheer force that you haven't put forward. Lifting heavy weights, yes, needed. Needed for a whole lot of stuff, right? So don't discount all of that stuff. You need it. But this stuff here gets you better at that. That over there doesn't necessarily get you better at this. That gets you better at handling some overloading stress. This gets you better at moving. You move around all day. So the goal is to get you better at that. And then we can start adding some stress and get you some of those, because we like those. Cool. We can get some of those. Those are even more cool, right? But the goal is to be able to move, because if you got those and you can't move, what's the point? If you got these and you're a hot girl fit and you can't move around or do anything, what's the point? Other than just, looking good. If you're a Zoolander, you go for it. Otherwise, there you go. Have a great, do great things for yourself. You can do great things for other people every day. That's why we're here. Get ready. Show's coming back. If you haven't seen, I've got an article that came out on Yahoo News, actually Yahoo Life, and it is about the Maha movement. Okay, I'm officially one of the men of Maha, so calendar's coming soon. So I've been joking with my clients. They're like, "Oh my God, yeah, calendar." I'm gonna get my blue jeans and the workout. We're gonna do a whole calendar thing. I'm joking, but now that joke is probably gonna happen. Who knows? Anyway, so there you go. Have a great day. See you next week.